Dope.
So
Nice.
World-renowned creative director, show designer, and choreographer, Nick Demoura first stepped into the public eye through his work with Justin Bieber. Today, Nick's resume has acquired countless credentials in multiple fields, including creative directing and choreographing for Ariana Grande, Jennifer Lopez, Kid Laroi, Usher, and Justin Bieber. Nick has left his creative mark on the Grammys, VMAs, Billboard Awards, AMAs, Teen Choice Awards, and Justin Bieber's Believe and Purpose Tour. He is a creative visionary, and I am proud to call him a friend.
We've known each other for nearly 10 years, I feel like.
yeah, it might be about 10 or maybe even more.
I know, it's crazy.
It's been a while, yeah.
Do you remember the first time we met?
I don't remember the first exact time exactly, but I remember the first time we hung out, and that was at 1600 Vine, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody lived there,
I
think the first time was backstage somewhere, of course.
I think the first time I remember talking to, I think we crossed paths a bunch of times because I was touring with Usher, you were touring with Justin Bieber, not Timberlake.
Not Timberlake, Bieber.
Justin
the
Trudeau.
other.
Yeah. But I think we were in Vegas for some award show or performance, might have been the Billboard Awards or something, and I just remember going through the lobby of a venue, and I think we were going, Usher's team was going one direction, you were going another direction with the dancers and stuff, and we said hello.
Yeah. I wonder, I think it was the AMAs, because the AMAs are usually always in Vegas.
Yeah.
And not lately, but they usually are in Vegas. Or Billboard, because Billboard was in Vegas a lot too.
My recollection is you started, I guess, dancing, right? That was your first career. So how did you, I guess, get into dancing first, and then how did you, what was your first gig? Did you go straight into dancing with Justin, or how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was just always that little kid that would dance at family events and weddings, and my grandparents are very Catholic, so they would do the Holy Ghost. Everyone's Catholic, you know what the Holy Ghost is. And so I would have to walk into processions, and they would always have these big dinner after parties with bands, and I just always danced, And so it wasn't until I'd say middle school for me was the NSYNC boy band era, which made if you were a guy and you dressed cool and you could dance, you're a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
So I would record the VMAs on VHS and learn everything that NSYNC did. I was well, that's my boy band. I'm NSYNC over Backstreet Boys. And then hot take. Yeah, and then I don't know, I was introduced again, and then I stopped because I played sports and stuff, and then was introduced again by some friends in high school. More at this point now, it's let's go to New York, let's go to LA and train and learn from these big choreographers, and that's what kind of introduced me to the industry side of things.
You're from
Boston. Yeah, I'm from Boston. So when I came to LA when I was 15 with a friend.
15, wow.
Yeah, my mom just let me do whatever I wanted. Respect. Just don't get in trouble, obviously. But,
yeah.
So I came to LA, and I remember I went to a random open call audition, and I booked it. It was a tour for this new artist that never came out. But I remember calling my mom. I was hey, I booked this tour, and it's can we swear on here? Get the fuck home. Get the fuck on the plane and come home.
Who was the artist?
It was some artist named Angel back in the day. Never really, I don't know, turned out to be anything big. But
this is when you were 15?
I was 15.
Wow.
I was 15 and a half, 16 at the time. And my mom's get home. And at that point, I was oh, okay, I think I can do this, when I am old enough. And then, 18, just came out here to do a scholarship program show, and then just never left. And yeah, when I got here again, it wasn't first audition, you made it, I worked at Radio Shack in Burbank. I worked at California Pizza Kitchen, shout out.
Yeah.
Still go there to eat, it's so good. Yeah. Taking the bus every day, and LA, the bus is just the worst thing ever, There's no public transportation out here. It's good in Los Angeles. So being out here with no car, living on a friend's couch for 2 years, that was kind of the story, And then it wasn't until I started wanting to teach, and I always felt I had something to offer that people just didn't see yet. And this is also when YouTube was not really a thing yet, and I just started posting videos on YouTube like one of the first few dancers, and that's how he became like kind of known in the world as like Nick Demoura, I guess, the dancer choreographer. And
what were you teaching? Just like
classes and my own art, you know what I mean? And people liked it, and so I would start traveling around the world and teaching master classes, and then Justin kind of came into play after that. Yeah.
And was it just an open audition or?
No, like a friend, my agent just called me and was like, Justin, and this is Justin's like not his peak yet, right? This is like pre My World Tour still. Like one time it just come out and Baby like just came out, and they were like,
had he even toured yet, or was this gonna be his first
he's done
tour?
spot dates, but this is even before his first tour. They just called me and were like, we're looking for an alternate. So what an alternate is like you'll get called, you'll learn everything, and you just stay at home, and if they need you they'll call you. And literally so I went and learned one time in Baby for free one day at the studio, and then 3 weeks later I get a call like, Justin needs you to go to Paris. And I went to Paris. I met him in the elevator on accident as I was going up, a little 15-year-old JB, you know.
Isn't it weird that like you met him at 15 and your first like tour was like 15?
Supposed to be 15.
Yeah, it's like looking at like, wow.
Yeah, like going back.
And how old were you then?
I think I was 21.
Wow.
21, 22 at the time. Yeah, I'd already been in LA like 2 or 3 years, struggling artist, you know,
Did you think then you were like, oh, this is gonna be something, or like you didn't know?
No, at that point in time, the only thing I knew of Justin was that he was just on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and I was like, oh, this is like a new little artist and whatever. And I remember like, I'm not a big guy. I don't know if you could tell on camera, but like, you know, yeah, I looked 16. I don't look my age, right? So I looked really young when I was young. So it was like, wow, like, cause you know, I go to a Beyonce audition and I go to the very end and then never get it. I go to a Chris Brown audition, make it to the very end, never get it. Like the industry is not just about talent, as we all know. It's casting. Are you too short for the artist? Are you not buff enough for the artist? Can you go on stage with your shirt off? Like,
can you fulfill the look?
The look as well. Yeah. So everyone who makes it to the end, they're all talented, and then it comes down to casting pretty much, right? So at that point in time, like, I was like, this guy's perfect, you know, like I could dance for him, you know. I had to shave every night at the show, you know, make sure I look young. Yeah. Things like that. So yeah, it was like a perfect match actually at the time for me. Yeah.
And then was it like the rest of the tour? Did you finish?
Yeah. So I did like a few spot dates for them as an alternate, and then they called me to do the tour as an alternate as well. So for tours, you're an alternate, so you'll go learn everything, and then they send you home when the tour starts, but you'll get like half your check per week, like a retainer fee.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll just take the retainer fee and then go teach, and if they need me, I'll just fly out. So I was like, oh, I'll double dip for a second.
Yeah.
So then one of the dancers, Nick Baga, who's an animal, that's my boy, shout out to Nick Baga, he decided to go do some other stuff. So he's like, hey, after the first show, you're gonna be on.
Wow.
And I was like, oh.
So you went from alternate then?
Alternate. Story of my life. I go from alternate to that same scholarship show I went to LA for. I was supposed to be an alternate, and then ended up being in the whole show. And then Bieber was the alternate, and then after the first show, I ended up going on tour with him.
Amazing.
Full time, yeah.
So you finished the My Way tour?
My World, yeah.
My World, yeah. Oh my God.
My Way is your tour, yeah.
It's coming out, triggering. But yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, that was a big tour, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. Like, and again, like, I didn't know how big. No one knew. Scooter didn't know. Justin didn't know. Like, everyone on the team, like, none of us knew how big it was going to be. And it was big. Like, we did the US and we sold out every arena. And then we went overseas and sold out like 60,000 stadiums, like, instantly. And we were just like, whoa.
What were the like singles that it was obviously like
dude, Baby, yeah, One Time, One Less Lonely Girl.
Was that when they filmed the doc also?
Yeah, and John Chu came and filmed Never Say Never, the documentary, 3D, the first 3D concert film, whatever.
Crazy.
That was nuts.
I remember watching that too and being like, this is like the scale. It felt so like, I remember like Jaden Smith at the time came out with rap.
And Miley Cyrus. Who else came out? Ludacris, of course, for Baby. It was mind blowing. Like, for me, it's like, you know, I don't know. I always like think this is funny. Like, growing up, like, Justin Timberlake was like my Justin, right? And I'm like, oh, I always like you put it out in the universe. Like, I want to dance for Justin. 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 Next thing you know, I'm dancing for a different Justin who's the same, if not maybe bigger. Like, you know, like for us in our generation, he's the biggest artist in the world, and you know, and it was just so cool. Like, I danced for Justin, you know, in a sense.
So how'd the relationship keep building? Because obviously it's like, you know, for people that don't know, you started as a dancer, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like, I feel like I watched you and we slowly progressed at the same time. As like I was doing BTS, and then you were backup dancer, and then you became choreographer, right?
Yeah, choreographer was the next step, and I think that just came from like I don't know, like there was this moment in the show where we would freestyle to like Michael Jackson, and I would freestyle every night. Like I would just do something different every night, and then Justin would always be like, "Yo, what'd you do? How'd you do that?" And I would always like just teach him little things and stuff like that. And then one night on the tour,
was this still with My World?
this is like towards the end of My World now. Justin and Scooter at the time watched my YouTube channel and saw all my choreography, and they were like, "Yo, you choreograph, like, it's just like, it's dope." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. Like, why didn't you tell us you choreograph?" And I was like, "Well, I'm just here playing my position, you know. I never, like, I think networking and hustling is like important, but I think being like that humble person is better. I've never got a job because I was like, "Yo, hire me, man. Look at my stuff." Like, I've just been me, done my work. You see it, you like it, you call me. I'm never throwing it in your face. Yeah, I think people get networking from like movie scenes like confused. It doesn't work that way. And so they were like, "Yo, you should do something for us one day." I was like, "Well, if you ask, like, of course, like I would love to." And then I don't know, a couple of months went by, and then we had to do the European Music Awards, and Justin and they were like, "Hey, can you just like re-choreograph this section and stage and do the whole thing for us since you're already out here in Europe for us?" And so I was like, "Yeah, of course." And so I did the European Music Awards, and it went really, really well. And he looked really good. He felt comfortable with me. I think that's the other thing too. Like me and Justin we're friends. Like he knows I'm always honest with him. He's always honest with me. You know, we have like that boss friendship relationship, and he knows I respect him and he respects me. So I think that's the thing. He can be in the studio with me and we can make fools of ourselves. You know, I'll do something. He's like, "That's whack." And I'll just laugh, and I'll be like, "No, that's wrong." And he'll laugh. You know what I mean? So we built a good relationship. So after that, that's like kind of like when I started becoming the choreographer at that point.
Because then the next tour, was it Purpose? Believe.
Yeah.
And
so
were you the full-on choreographer for that?
Yeah. So Believe was like, that's my progression. So My World tour, I danced. Believe tour, I was the head choreographer of the whole tour.
That must have been exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. It's like a full childhood dream of mine, you know.
Crazy. And what were like the big singles off of Believe? That
was Boyfriend, As Long As You Love Me, Beauty and the Beat. That whole area.
The Beat, like video. I think
I had one day to choreograph that video.
Insane. That was at a water park.
The water park. Yeah.
The first time I met Justin was Usher came in to record Beauty and the Beat, because initially he was going to be the feature instead of Nicki.
I never even knew that.
Yeah, so I have like footage of him like singing like body, like whatever. So I have like I have them like going back and forth, and like
that's crazy.
And no tattoos, still having the like
need a little Bieber cut.
Bieber cut. So that was the first time like I ever experienced like Justin. But I remember at that time too, it was just like at that point he was like the household name. He was like this is the new hit, like
when Believe dropped, it was like a big moment for sure.
I mean we're in the age demo too, where it's like growing up with like, I mean we're older than he is, but it's like, you know, as long as you love me, Boyfriend, all that shit was like all over the radio. That was
everywhere.
School dances, that was everything. I mean that's so cool. And then how long was that tour? That must have been like...
That tour was so long. It was like almost 2 years long. It was probably the longest tour we've ever done. I think we did 176 to 180 shows.
And that's when he started to like adultify too, right?
Yeah,
like
slightly. It was like that middle ground. Like he's kind of an adult now. I think because he was like, what, 17, maybe 18 when that came out, you know? So definitely...
What's it like choreographing for like... Because obviously you choreograph for a lot of different people now, and it's like, do you obviously have to put yourself in like their shoes or what have you?
Yeah.
So like, were you like, okay, I can, you know, he's not quite a kid, he's not quite an adult, so like, how did the moves like translate?
Yeah, and I think it's just like what's cool. Like, I work with a lot of artists, but the ones I have like more personal relationships is where you could really thrive with them. You know, if they let you in completely, you know, and I think me and Justin had that. Like with him, like I already know what he doesn't like.
Yeah.
I know he's lefty, so if I start my glide on the right, he'll be like, switch it to the left. So now I just start that way now. Like there's like things that like I just know what he likes, know what he doesn't like ahead of time, you know. So that's just always helped, like just being able to hang out or just like sessioning in the studio together for hours at a time, you know. So you can kind of like nip that stuff in the butt before he even kind of gets to rehearsal, you know. And then when we get to rehearsal, if it's something he doesn't like, he'll voice that and we'll just work on changing it together.
What's cool too is like, because I remember like, it's funny now because now with TikTok and stuff, it's like, I think people are trying to make stuff that is, you know, that can be repeated or that people can like imitate or what have you.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because I remember like As Long As You Love Me doing the like you know, just like the moves that was that even like a conscious thing while you were doing that or like, you know?
No, I mean sometimes like I'll just come up with stuff, and if it's a struggle, we can make adjustments, but he usually will get that stuff. Like As Long As You Love Me, like that's like one of my favorite ones. A lot of people like that. So the music video is so sick. Like the performances we did for that were great, and like that's like one of my favorite pieces of work if I had to say one. And yeah, no, he just did good, and especially Justin, he's such a performer, so when he's hitting his chest, it's like an emotional song. It's like this pop emotion, you know. And that's I was like, how do I make this like emotion into movement, you know, and to match the record. And literally I just like the na 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 na. So you had to keep that rhythm, and then like love me, and like just like physical hit your chest, you know. It's super like aggressive with the moves. I don't know, I love that piece. It's my best friend like Michael, he's like, that's my favorite piece. Like, so when he booked the tour, he was like, I just can't wait to As Long As You Love Me.
And it's one of those dances too, when you hear the music, it's like you picture the move. And I feel like now with like, and this is pre-TikTok and all that stuff, obviously. So it's like, I just remember even like when it'd come on like at a school dance or whatever it was, it's like people would try to imitate would imitate it.
Which is cool because like that's what I did growing up, right? Like I would watch something and I would go imitate it. It's gonna be me. All that stuff, like you would imitate all these videos that you would see, you know. And so like it's cool when people now imitate your stuff and at a high level.
It's humbling.
It's great.
And then you went from choreographer to creative director, which is, I guess, so would you say the main thing between being like, the main role was going from like, all right, here's the dance moves to like, all right, here's the overall vision of like what the stage is going to look like, what's going to be on the screen, how we're going to get from.
So I got called one day by management and they were like, Teen Choice Awards, don't fuck it up.
That's all he said?
That's all he said. So I was like, oh, fuck, here we go.
I mean, that's like a movie.
It's like slow motion. Look at the phone. Like, So I was like, okay, don't fuck it up. So that was like my first time doing it. And then, you know, everyone thought like Justin looked like the best he's ever looked at that. Up until that point, it was Teen Choice Awards. We did Boyfriend into As Long As You Love Me. I choreographed it. I did the set design. I did the creative. I did everything, you know. So, and it came out really good. And then, from then on, I kind of became the creative director. So every award show, I would do like the creatives and the designs and choreograph everything. And for me, wanting to jump to that position was just more like, I don't know, I just be like, I think I have better ideas. I think I have really cool ideas. I really would like to try, you know. And then also like when you're the choreographer, you're like, oh, I'm the choreographer. But when the creative director is above you and he's like, all right, you guys are dancing in boxes, and you're like, okay. And you got to just go choreograph that, right? And it's your job. You got to go do it and make it look cool. But like when you're just like, nah, like I think we need to be on this spaceship and everybody's floaty, and if they come down flying and if they flips up in the air and then we come out and then this people come out, and as a creative director, you get to make all those decisions. You know? So, and then I think that's why like with Justin, we've had like some really great cohesive, big performances throughout the last 13 years, 12 years.
And the first tour you were creative director for was Purpose
Tour, so I designed the stage and did the creative and the choreo on that one.
That one was so fun.
I mean, that album was, everything about that was unbelievable. That whole tour, the fashion, the merch was crazy. The time in my life, Jerry Lorenzo did the merch. Like the crew of dancers we had, the band we had, like the crew we had in general, like was cool. The music, like that.
You mean Sorry?
Where Are You Now? Even like Mark My Words. Like there's just so many.
Well, I'll say my favorite parts of that show just because I'll flex for you, because I went out and saw a bunch of the shows thankfully, but like it started with like a cube, right?
Yeah.
And there was, what was it, projection inside of, or what was the
No, so it's funny because Justin always had this idea. Like, so sometimes he'll bring me ideas and he'll be like, yo, I want to be in this like glass cube. And I'm like, okay, I love the aesthetic, but like, I'm very much of like, okay, well, why are they doing this? Right? So it's like, what's the song saying? What's the creative behind it? Or are we just in a glass cube?
Yeah.
Because it's a glass cube. And that's done a lot, where it's just like design, but no connection creatively or story-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were doing Purpose Tour, I really love the song Mark My Words. And
That's
I know
like the intro track.
It's like the intro track to the album.
Yeah.
And I said, usually when you start a tour, it's like big first song. And I was like, no. So I connected the intro video film into the intro song. And at that time, like as big as Justin was, I just felt like everybody looked at him like a piece of art, right? Like camera, paparazzi, always bothering him, people trying to sue him. And in creatively, so like you're a piece of art, like you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of art. So I was like, yo, what if we trap you at the end of the video in the glass box that you've always wanted to use, and you come up and you're in a museum. So the visuals were a museum that were projection mapping words on the museum statues. And I said, and in the box, we'll give you a marker and you can write whatever you're thinking that day or whatever you're feeling. And you're saying, so while you're singing, mark my words, like love you guys, fear, heartbreak, all these things. And it's like, you're this, to show people like, you're not just this piece of art. You're actually like human, and these are your human thoughts. And so that's why I was like, this is how we can use the glass box. And he was like, fuck yeah, you know. So like that's why we use the glass box.
Yeah, I just remember that like imagery like so strong, especially too because I shot a couple of the shows, and it's just like when you're like those moments, like you love being able to like shoot that, and obviously it's like it feels like a
give you something else to capture as a photographer and a filmmaker, right? Like you're just like where it's just like the stage, but when there's a prop and he's lifted, he's elevated, it feels like the scale feels big but intimate at the same time.
Yeah, it was so cool. And then how many like sections were there for that show? Because
it was 23 songs, 24 songs, so a lot of creatives. We had like the floating trampoline. I had that I'll show you blow through invisible LED wall that he was in. A lot of lifts. I think we had like 17 lifts. Yeah, it was a big show.
And do you design all that on the computer?
Yeah, I'll do my renderings. Back then my renderings were so shit. You know, like I just felt like I just needed enough to get the ideas across. That nowadays I'll render everything out for sure for the shows and drawings and all that stuff. But like, a lot of reference photos, and you know, I just like luckily like again like being on the tours as a dancer. I remember my first tour, like I would do load-ins with the crew like at 5 a.m. and they're like, you're not coming. I'm like, no, I'm gonna come. I just wanted to learn everything. I would like hang out with the crew guys. Like sometimes, you know, you've been on tours, it can be very like the crew's over here, the dancer cool kids are over here, and the band's over there. And it's like, I like everybody, man, and I appreciate everyone's job. Like I want to know, like, okay, how do you rig this? Like, what does that mean? Like, what's this thing? Why do you guys chalk the floor in the morning? Like, what's that for? Like, you know, a lot of people don't even know how the stages they're on get built.
Yeah,
you know,
it's hard to figure out how to put something together unless you like can look at every single step.
Yeah, and you don't have to be like a master engineer on every single thing, but knowing enough of everything helps you when you need to design something, right? So you can design and budget and know with products, know what companies and vendors to go to for those things or for information. You know? Yeah,
it's also like you were even talking about earlier. It's like pitching yourself or going like in order to advance or what have you. It's like, you know, similarly in a weird way, it's like I wasn't ever shooting to do something more than whatever I was doing, but it's like as you start to like naturally just be around and progress, it's just like oh well, like I have like ideas that I might not say what the idea is, but all of a sudden they like ask your opinion or what have you, like it could be cool to do this, or if your work starts to look more elevated, they take notice of it, and it's just like, you know, it's like and
if you're cool to work with too, I think that's like one of the main things. I just had a big casting the other day, and it's like, you know, I don't know if people know, like I see you guys in public, I see you at the events, like I don't know, like I'm like, oh, I gotta go to Saudi Arabia with you for a week. Do I want to hang out with your energy for that week, or you know what I mean, or things of that nature.
Yeah,
so it's so important to like.
I've definitely been on tour where there's like a dancer or crew member or something that just like the energy's off. They're difficult to be around, and like those are the people that unfortunately don't last long because it's like it's like a family. It's like a really tight unit.
I tell everyone all the time, like, if you, especially on touring, it's like 99% of the time we're just living together. What do? We do what, 4 hours a night on stage at the end of the day, you know, like the rest of the time, like we're living and breathing with each other, you know what I mean? So who do you want to live with at the end of the day? I'd rather take someone I'll enjoy myself being around for the next year and a half of my life than someone who's more talented, to be honest.
Always. Yeah, it's like if you have a good personality, you can go with the flow and you're enjoyable to be around. I feel like in any profession, like you're gonna find a way to succeed. It's like it's not always talent, you know. There's a lot of talented people, but it's like the ones that you want to be around, learn from, and have experiences with. It's crazy. Yeah, I remember I had a basketball coach. There's always like luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Yeah. And I feel that so much in like this industry where it's like, you know, a lot of it feels like luck, but it's just like
it's not. It's preparation. Like how many things have you made that you've never shown anybody that you were making before you started making things? Like I used to make creative decks for artists I wasn't even working for. Like, okay, Beyonce, VMAs, what would I do? And I would just make a whole creative deck so I could work on my decks and my pitches. Yeah. Like just things of that nature. Just being prepared for when the call comes, you don't mess it up, where even if you get to the job, then they'll call you back because they're like, yeah, he's not ready. You know? Yeah. And even like a love for, I feel like it's hard to, there's a lot of people that just want like whatever they feel like that life is going to be. But it's like, I feel like you can't be the best at something you don't love because you're just going to burn out. It's like you love the dancing, you love the creative of it. And like, I'm obsessed with it. Yeah. Like I'm like my harshest critic. Like, you know, like I remember like, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm so hard on myself because like, I remember Purpose Tour, the first show ended and it was like, now what? It's a hard feeling. How do you top this? Yeah. Can you top this? You know?
And now a quick word from our sponsor, Licked. As you may have noticed, we are using Justin Bieber's music in today's episode. And we are only able to do that because of our sponsor, Licked. Licked is the music platform that gives creators access to the world's biggest artists. Whether you're a YouTuber with millions of subs or an inspiring creator, Licked allows you to license the biggest and best tracks to use in your videos, all without losing any ad revenue to copyright claims. Licked also has over 1 million mainstream tracks to choose from, with artists such as Justin Bieber, Lizzo, Bruno Mars, Cardi B, Charlie Puth, Sam Smith, and more. Help your audience watch longer and stay engaged with more popular music. They also offer stock music library as well, which can be used on any social media platform, not just YouTube. They have super easy search filters and custom playlists like Spotify popularity. You could also sort by mood and by genre. By using Licked, you are helping us convince the music industry to make bigger and more popular songs available to people like us, the creators. For a limited time offer, use the link in the description of this video to receive 50% off your first mainstream track, as well as 14 days free of stock music. Thankfully, we are able to use Justin Bieber's music in today's episode with Nick Demoura, thanks to Licked. And now, back to the podcast.
And then also like, he takes breaks, you know, like all the time. Or like, that's more so now where it's just like,
he's definitely taking some breaks and it's his life, so I just support him in any way like he needs the breaks. But like, like, you know, we just, after Purpose ended, it was like a 2.5 year long break, and you go from like post-tour depression, I call it, where your life is so high octane, you're in the spotlight, but you're like with the spotlight everywhere in every country, every city. Everyone's like free dinners, free club entries, all this fun stuff is happening, and then like done. And then you're like, whoa. And then you don't get a call for like 3 months, and you're like, "What, is my career over now? Like, is it done?" Like, and then like another job comes, you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm still here. Oh, okay, I'm still here." That up and down roller coaster that's not for everybody either. No, I deal with that a lot. I know you deal with that a lot. Like as independent businesses, creatives, like we'll have like the craziest year of our life, and then we can have like a down medium year, and then like something crazy happens, and then nothing for six months again. You know, so dealing with that is like, I don't know, never ending. But then I've realized like I'm starting to get used to it now at this, I think my age, and just like something's always going to come. Like I know I'm gifted, I know I'm talented, I know people like working with me, you know.
there's always the highs and the lows. It's just about like being okay with riding the in between. And like you're saying, I think like as you get older, you're more comfortable in that in between. You're just like, oh, I'm not the this or the this. I'm like I'm here and I'm experiencing the this and the this all the time. And it's like it takes some maturity just to be like, okay, like there's always going to be this and this, but it'll feel less extreme the older you get.
Yeah. But I think it gives us time to pursue our personal goals and things for people like you and me. I mean, I know you personally. Right? So it's like even doing this right now, like you having the time to do this and me having the time right now, like how many years of our friendship where I'm like across the world and you're across the other side of the world, like we get to hang out, we get to do this and these are also important things for us to do in our life, right? So like just that, and like me trying to like sell TV shows to big networks or whatever I'm trying to do, like in those meantime where it's just like love working for artists, love creating for them, but I'm also trying to build things that I own and that I can produce myself, you know?
Yeah, because it's an interesting feeling being someone who's like providing a service for someone else and like almost like living vicariously through them, or like being a support system, and then also being like, but I like also want to like feed myself and my own creative like vision and, you know, be my own thing.
And like make my own schedule and me choose when I'm not working, not someone else choose when I'm not working or working, you know. It gets tough sometimes, but I want a private jet. I'm just kidding.
It'd be nice.
It would be.
I don't want to sit in security. Some seats that feel spacious. But we've like luckily gotten to work on stuff. I mean, that's the other cool thing. It's just about like being, I feel like, a good person or just like getting along with people. It's like we never went out to be like, oh, let's do stuff together. But it's like as we continue to cross paths, it'd be like we'd think of each other and do things together. Like, oh, we like have an opportunity to like make this video for Justin and like, or this. And it's just like, you know.
Yeah, it's just a different thing too. And that's the other thing too. Like even like, I don't know, I find this a lot too. Like, if I call you and you call me, like, hey, you want to do this? You want to go do this? And we go in and we do it. And like, we're not charging each other money. We're not like trying to like,
do it.
We just want to do it. And but those genuine things have like made us like when we got to go shoot the creative for Usher together. Like that was cool. And then we made money together, whatever, a little bit of money, whatever it was. But like, it wasn't like, and that's just because our genuine like, hey, let's just go make some stuff. And like, if it's content for you, great. If it's content for me, awesome. But like, we would just genuinely go make stuff because we were bored. Like, hey, you bored? Let's go take photos. Like, all right, let's go take photos. We're bored together. Like, let's go do that. And like with nothing, trying to get anything on the back end from it, you know. And then things naturally happen where we get to work together.
Yeah, we did some fun. I mean, I'm just so we have stuff to cut to. But I loved. I mean, Justin did like a whole dance. Essentially made like a dance video for every song. Was it just
Changes album?
Changes album, and we got to like Changes got to do with you.
Dude, that was so sick.
That was so fun.
And like, I don't know, I remember like I was definitely overwhelmed. So having you was great, and like, and also having you like elevated that video like with the effects you do, like your mind in that realm. Like I saw like one half of it, and then the other half of you. Like it made that video what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like
and it's so interesting too, because like you choreograph obviously, and you were choreographing, but then you're like, I want to dance on this one because obviously you are a dancer. And like it's interesting like being in it and then being like, I trust you behind the camera, whatever you're doing behind there, like I know it's like, gonna look dope.
Jordan, direct this thing, bro, like get back behind the camera and just tell me what to do. And I was dying. I was in the harness for like 6 hours doing flips, and I was so like nauseous, bro. Like
it came out really cool.
It did. It came out sick. I remember I showed someone that recently, and they're like, how the fuck did you do this?
I know. I was like, I'll play it, and every time I play it, like we never get through it without them being like, how are they doing that?
Wait, what? Where are you?
Like, I promise I'll answer all your questions as soon as the video is done. There's a harness, and we removed it.
And even like even those videos, like they weren't the highest budgeted videos like at all. Like we barely made money. I barely made money. It was more like I just want to do this challenge. Like fuck it, I want to be a director too one day. So like we just did it, and even like to like again going back to relationships, like the vendors, like the LED cube that I was in, like we got that in the space for like free. It's because I built a good relationship with them, and that helped.
The Yummy video too.
The Yummy, that was last minute. We had to go in like super last minute and shoot that one.
Same vendors that make the screens for the tour.
The tour,
So it's like,
and we had the tour coming up, and we were using them, and we asked them like, hey, can you please set up this in your warehouse for us for this shoot? And they just hooked it up. Like,
And it was cool because I just remember it's all these like super talented like either dance crews or choreographers. Like it was Sienna and like the lab and like, so you got
Kinges,
like, just like the dopest of like what they do and being able to be like, all right, do your thing on this song, do your thing. And it was, and even like promo for, I remember I Don't Care, like we did something where it's like you and the actual dancers from the tour, like, like put something together for I Don't Care.
I know Justin called me like one morning. I was like, can you do one of your dance videos of this thing? I think it'd be sick. I'm like, all right, cool. Called you, and like we tried it in like 2 days.
48 hours.
Yeah.
A lot of those are like that. And the Wizkid Essence video, like the remix, we needed to throw something together in like 24 hours. We found,
literally 24 hours.
Found a beach.
Found a beach, got yelled at, almost got kicked out. Like
brought some lights,
shot
something, and I remember just going to Justin's house like 2 days straight, just like editing right then and there. Like we were going through selects. We're like this. We were like this. Okay.
Yeah, he was like super involved with the edit with us. We just literally sat with him for like hours. It was like almost 2-3 days straight.
Yeah,
and just like got the looks that he wanted. Yeah,
it's funny, like what people don't realize what happens like behind the scenes. They'll just see a piece of content somewhere and like,
I don't understand. Like we had to like run to Malibu in like last minute. You barely found the house to rent that was on the beach just so we could use the beach.
Yeah,
I remember just being at dinner after like, we did it.
We did it. Right, it's done. Okay, cool. Let's enjoy dinner. That's so funny. Yeah. And I mean, it's cool too, because like you were saying, the way we really started to like get to know each other on a more like personal level, like outside of like touring stuff, was we notoriously lived in this building, 1600 Vine, where it's like
everybody lives there.
Yeah, and coincidentally, it was called Vine, and it was every Viner you can imagine was living there. So it was like, it's crazy, you know.
Yeah, like, it was like it felt like a creative house before creative houses, but it was in a massive apartment building, right? Every time you walked out, someone's shooting something, whether it was Batch or Rudy or Lele or Anwar, like all these people were just like there. You know, the Shots apartment was a party every night. You know, like it was. So
that's how I got to know Justin a bit better too, is just because like he'd come by and hang out with everyone too. So it's like, got to all hang out together and just find ways to be creative, where it's like, all right, do you want to shoot a sketch right now, or should we like do this, or like whatever. It's just everyone documenting
jazz night at the W. Every Wednesday night we're at jazz night, you know.
Like, so fun.
Those are the times, bro. That was pretty fun era for sure.
I feel like that birthed all of these like content houses. Like before there was like Team 10 and Hype House and all of that stuff. It was 1600 Vine. And everyone, I don't even know how like conscious it was. I think it was just like a few select people at first. Like I moved in the day Logan Paul moved in. I met him at Bed Bath & Beyond buying like sheets, and he was like just starting to do like Vine and YouTube and stuff, and then just so funny. But
I remember moving. I literally just went though, like to just look for an apartment. I didn't know anybody lived there, right? So I walk into the apartment. I'm doing my tour, and I'm going back to the leasing office with the agent there. And as I walk in, John Shahidi walks out. He's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, I was just looking. He's like, "Move in, move in. You're moving in." He's moving in. I'm like, wow, I'm moving in. Give me the lease. Funny. And I just signed the lease.
You know who put me on was actually Fredo.
Really?
Flores.
Oh yeah.
Who was tour photographer for
Justin for years. Yeah,
I remember I was with him, and I just remember I was living in New York at the time, and I wanted to move to LA because like Usher was shooting The Voice, and we were there constantly. So I was just like, you know what? I think he's gonna move from Atlanta to LA. Maybe I'll like actually pack up and move to LA. And I remember asking Fred, I'm like, do you know of any like cool places or like I should look at? And he was like, oh, my friend Batch just moved into the spot 1600 Vine. I think Batch was like the first one to like kind of go in there.
Yeah.
So I looked, and I like signed a lease that day, and then I moved 2 weeks later. So it was just like super impromptu, but I'm like, I'm glad I did, because like it grew your social network like super quick there. If you live there, like it's crazy outside to be like all these fans just waiting for people to come out of the apartment building, and I'm just like, what is going on here? Like birthed with the influencers. It was like the weirdest. I remember like James Corden came and did like a special there. 60 Minutes came and did a special, and they're like, what's happening in this building?
Yeah, it's like all the crazy creators living in one apartment building, like on accident almost. Like it's crazy.
I got lunch with like Batch and Amanda Cerny yesterday, and we were just like, every time that kind of like happens, and it's like more than like a handful of us, I'm just like, this feels like 1600. Remember this? This was every day.
Just driving our earboards around.
Yeah, just hoverboarding around.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah. I guess like it's different too now, because it's like now there's like TikTok. There's like, I don't know. I feel like dance weirdly has become like Vine was like comedy, and comedy is like, I feel, you know, like 6 seconds, and now it's like TikTok's dance and what. So like, how do you find that?
It's kind of weird, right? It's kind of like I don't hate on anyone or anything ever. Like, I think if you want to make your money and make your business, like, by all means, God bless you. I wish you the best. The only thing I think about TikTok is just like sometimes like dance becomes like diluted, right? Because like people want to do what they can do, so it's not hard, right? And then like you see a lot of dancers who are probably not as talented as like the dancers I have on like a Bieber tour, who are just becoming famous for an art form that they're not the greatest at. That would be like my only like quarrel with it. Yeah. But besides that, I think it's awesome. I think it makes people feel good about themselves. But yeah, that'd be like my only little quarrel about it. You know.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, because in art form in general, like, even, I don't know, like we used to have to like shoot sick, crazy $1,000 concept videos for people to like our videos, and now you could just be in the kitchen just like doing the 2-step, and you're gonna get 6 million views and $20,000. You know, like, it's yeah,
it's interesting
because you're beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, beauty
always sells, right?
Yeah, it's gonna attract people. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like the algorithm knows me now, because like now when I scroll through, it's like it'll just be like art or whatever. It'll be like, you know, dancers like going off, or like battles, or you know, or like amazing singers and stuff. I think it's cool. It's like broken a lot of like singers and like dancers and stuff too. But yeah, I hope it doesn't dilute, like, you know. Yeah,
again, like some things get through that are still amazing, and that happens, but then there's also things that get through that are just not, right? And it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's like I'm older now, but like I can't watch a lot of junk all day.
No,
I mean, so
yeah, hopefully it allows people to get some sort of discernment between what's like a higher level,
and I think it'll happen eventually. Like, it'll start weeding its way through, you know. Yeah, to be honest. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing. I think it's just an interesting world we live in now. Like, you're just famous, and you can be rich and famous for almost nothing. Like, it's just like, it's just a weird space, or for being like provocative, or for being like outrageous and all these things. And like, but the other part about it that I love is that like you can create your own brand and company through yourself, and it's almost like, and it's kind of like what I do with like my Instagram or my YouTube earlier on. Like, I was doing that, you know, and that's what did get me to like this place, to like be in the entertainment industry as a whole.
Yeah, like in a weird way.
So like, if you use the vehicle the in my eyes the correct way, it's freaking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it blesses people who are talented that are on it, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
But sex always sells, right? So sex is going to continue to sell.
Shake your butt more.
Shake your butt.
If I guess, because like it's saturated now too, where it's like, you know, I sometimes I get questions, or people being like, you know, how did you start, or how do you like, what advice would you give me to make a name for myself, or whatever. It's like, what would you say to someone, because like you still teach, you go out and teach and stuff, so it's like, what advice do you give? You just like post as much as you can, or like,
I don't know, I don't want to be an influencer, right? I'm just kind of am because of who I am, right? So for me, I just think it's put out quality. Right now, if you want to be like a full-time like straight influencer now, it's like, good luck, because there's so many, right? It's oversaturated. So now what you have to do is you have to like go collaborate with other big names in order to get your name seen. It's like, it's so oversaturated. So like, for anyone who's like, I want to be an influencer, what do I do? I'm like, make a content every day, 3 times a day, post at these times that are, but like, you really have to like be consistent and collaborate with people with big names already in order to like kind of blow up now, I think, personally. Or do something really outrageous, like some Mr. Beast thing. I'm giving away $1 million.
Which is expensive.
To the best dancer, no one has $1 million to throw away. Right? So
but hopefully TikTok can maybe just like break more dancers, because I feel like, I mean, Charli D'Amelio I guess she's an influencer, but she's a dancer. Or like Tate McRae was like a dancer, now she's a singer or whatever. So
Tate's actually doing really great. I actually love her new music, to be honest.
Super talented. And even like Enola, like my girlfriend, like she
Enola
dances, but like
Enola was a platform for it, and then but Enola's like dope, you know. So like she's took that thing to another level too.
So I guess advice would be just put stuff out there, like
I just think like too, like I think you have to, I think people like Enola and people like Tate McRae actually love what they're doing, right? That's the thing. I think that's going to be the anomaly here, right? Where like Enola loves dancing, so she's out there every day filming with the camera, rehearsing, choreographing right now, literally right now she's choreographing, right? And so like that's the difference. Like if you love it that much, then you'll be successful. I think at the end of the day, that's the thing. Like you have to be like super passionate about it, because I've done adventures in life where it's like, oh, this is gonna make money, and they haven't been successful because like I'm like, oh, that's just for money, and so I'm not giving it my all and my everything.
I agree. It's like finding your purpose in life is kind of like finding your passion.
That's so important. Like, you know, it's not like when I have kids one day, I'm gonna be like, "What do you love? Exactly. What do you love? Go, you know, like,
do it.
I
mean, which is like a fortunate. You know, not a lot of people or I feel like you used to it'd be a fortunate thing to be like, I love this, I'm gonna go do this. But now it's like with social media and everything, it's like if you really love something, it's like, do it, share it, and hopefully like it catches and like people, because that's the other thing now. Like I was talking with Amanda and Batch, and it's like there's so many niches and famous people now. They'll be like, oh, do you like see that mom who cooks in like a van like for her kids, and you're like, what? And she has like 400,000 whatever, she's sustaining herself just from this thing. Or someone who's like doing DIY, whatever. It's like now you can, like, if you find something you're really good at and you really like.
I watched this guy who will cut people's lawns for free that are destroyed, and that's all he does. And I'm just like, wow, millions of views, because it's so like satisfying to see like the grass get cut and the lines get cleaned. I just sit there at night and I'll watch it. I'm like, this dude is blessing people by doing their lawns for free who can't afford it, whatever, and turned it into an entire business. That's so niche.
So niche. There were like that barber, like Vic Blends, so just like go and be like, oh, can I like bless you and your like family and give a haircut? Does like a little interview or like some words of affirmation and wisdom and da-da-da. And it's like, hey, it used to be if you were a barber or whatever, you try to find big clientele, or you try to find like a good.
It's flipped now. It's kind of flipped for sure. Yeah.
You can definitely like manifest or bring things to you by like, hey, find your passion, find a way to showcase it. But it's super cool.
Yeah, it's getting to that point too where I think, like, honestly, I mean, YouTube is just obviously never going away. I don't think this company is going away, but it's like I find myself watching like people's smaller YouTube content more than like Netflix shows now.
Yeah,
because it's like I can choose what I want to see, what subjects I want to watch, and just watch those things. Like, and I think it's gonna, instead of being like these massive conglomerate big media companies, it's just going to be a million small little companies everywhere, and everyone's taking like revenue share of that.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I feel like our attention spans are either like we want to watch something that's 6 seconds, or we want to watch something that's like an hour. And like, I don't know, I ask people if they want to go see movies all the time, like, man, I don't have 2 hours, but I'm like, they'll watch 8 episodes of a TV show in a row, or they'll scroll on their phone for like, it's like,
I know, it's so different. I think that the pandemic screwed people from staying in more and just getting so used to that repetition. Even for me, like, I think I got lucky because we worked throughout half the pandemic. Like, Justin was like, I want to work, and we did so many pre-tapes for like a lot of shows, and he dropped an album during that time, right? So we worked a lot, so I was still like out enough, like being busy, but like I know a lot of people are just like, they just want to stay in now. They don't want to go to a movie, they don't want to go out to eat anymore. I'm like, hey, does anyone want to go get drinks? Like, they don't want to go play pool? I'm chilling tonight. It's like
entertainment's coming to you.
Yeah. And we're all gonna be on Wall-E eventually.
Sitting in a chair, just
sitting in a chair, like moving through society. Yeah.
I mean, with the Apple Vision Pro and all the
Meta, my god, I can't wait to see it.
Ray-Ban goggles and all that stuff. It's like
the Apple Vision Pro thing, I'm pretty excited for, to be honest. I think it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I want to just video edit with that thing.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah,
or we might just fucking hit it.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe it's the like, because we're on the older side now, where it's just like it. I don't know. I still love very tangible stuff. Like, I love hiking and feeling the sun and like going outside. It's like I only really go to my screen like in the evening. I'll start editing and stuff like once the sun goes down. It's like there's something about like when the sun's out, and you know,
at night I'm like the most creative, I'd say. Like, probably after this, like, I'll go and get some work done because I'm a night owl as well. Like I hate mornings. But,
Yeah.
So it's because I'm a night owl though. Like I'm up till like 2, 3 every night.
Wow.
Even if I try to lay down earlier, I'll just be like,
It's hard to turn the brain off.
turn the brain off. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you unwind? What do you do?
I have to watch something.
Yeah.
I have to watch something I've seen before. Or else I'll like, if it's something interesting, I'll just keep watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have like okay. So it's like a comfort.
Like when like Netflix is on Family Guy, I would watch. When Family Guy was on Netflix, I would watch Family Guy like every night.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like stupid. And I just go
That's why people like watching like Friends and like The Office and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
I'll throw on like a Avenger movie I've watched a million times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for you then? What are you looking forward to?
I'm doing this really cool job in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
For the Tyson Fury fight, like the opening ceremony for that, which is gonna be pretty sick.
It's amazing.
It's gonna be like I'm bringing 45 dancers now to Saudi Arabia with me, so
Wow.
start rehearsal on Friday for that. So that's gonna be fun, and then I don't know what's happening after that right now. I'm not too concerned yet either.
Yeah.
I got a couple of things like up in the air, but nothing confirmed.
Yeah.
But it's about to be holiday season anyway, which slows down.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, go home, chill with family.
And if it were up to you, like what, like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what's on the vision board? What do you want to do?
Well, I hope to sell my Vegas show soon. I would love to I've been pitching and getting my pitch together and
Very cool.
for my own Vegas resident like show, kind of like in this vein of like Cirque du Soleil type concept,
Very cool.
which I've been working on for like years, and I would really love to sell that and build that out and have a show that I designed that doesn't have an artist name attached that is successful still on its own. That's a big goal of mine, and that I want to like produce some of my own projects. I think that's like my new goals. Like I want to own my work and work on.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
And start a podcast.
Start a podcast. Yeah. I've been wanting to start a podcast for like a year and a half, 2 years. I haven't yet. But
Well,
you're inspiring me, Jordan.
yeah, hopefully by the time this is out, and if people want to go, I mean, first, like, definitely check out his YouTube channel because really cool dancing and stuff on there. But maybe a podcast. Maybe I'll come on. Maybe some other cool people.
Yeah. I'd love to have you on.
Yeah. Well, it was good chatting.
It was great chatting. Are we done? Is this how it ends? How does it end?
Yeah, I guess. All right. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
You better like, you better subscribe. Follow him, follow me. We're pretty tight sometimes.
And whip.
Watch me whip.